Okay.
And we're going to be talking about something that has really eaten into the core of Africa. It has eaten into the core of almost everybody or almost every person who is a resident in Africa, who was born in Africa.
Okay.
And it is an issue of superstitions.
Okay.
I have heard you describe that is the number one problem that you have seen that plagues the African continent. That a lot of us are superstitious. A lot of us depend on things that we cannot exactly quantify. And we can see that superstitions are things that are not exactly based on facts. They are not based on science. They are not based on research. They're just based on cultural and traditional beliefs that have made us now to begin to, leave reality to hold on to things that are not exactly real, that don't, foster progress. For example, I remember you telling me of the story of a tree in your village that couldn't be moved, but then it was in the way of progress. And people thought that because that tree was, in quote, a home for the gods, people could not touch it. But lo and behold, one day, a European came, or a white guy came with a caterpillar, and people were saying, your family is going to die if you touch this tree.
Your whole family will be wiped out.
Your entire lineage will be wiped out. But he didn't care because he didn't believe in any of that. And he was able to get the tree out of the way, and progress was brought to your village.
Yep.
So I want you to tell us, what is your take on the fact that superstitions have come so far and have eaten into the core of Africa? And what do you think we can do to get it out? So first of all, describe to us in your words what superstitions are from your experience.
Now, from my definition, superstition, what makes it dangerous is the fact that when you have superstition, you are believing, and through your belief, you are empowering inanimate objects or occurrences of nature to be elevated above the man. Let's say, for example, you have flood in the city. There is a city in Nigeria they call the city of Ibadan. You have Ogunpa or something flood all the time. Yes. So this flood comes in, and when there is raining season, and people have been struggling with it. So whenever the flood happens after the rain, people begin to make sacrifices. So what does that say? They say, oh, you have offended the gods. And so you have to sacrifice. They used to sacrifice human beings to appease this thing. And now they are sacrificing animals or things like that. And what does that mean? God did not create man to worship creation, to worship river, to worship storm, to worship, even in our country, even thunder from heaven. The God of thunder right now, the God of iron. They made it because anything that is, what is superstition? Anything that is inexplainable to them, in their reality, they exalt it to the status of God. So they now make things, the occurrences of nature, they exalt it above themselves and begin to worship it. So in some places, there are trees that the tree may be too big, or it's unexplainable why it's living so long. Because when they were born, the tree was there, and now they are getting old, the tree is still there. So they now begin to say, okay, this thing is mysterious. So they begin to worship it. So whenever a man that is made in the image and likeness of God exalts anything above himself, he is exalting creation above the creator, and is making the God of creation, the creator himself, to bow down. That is what we call animism. Animism is the worship of subjects, elements and elements of nature. So superstition encourages that. Superstition makes you it reduces you. It removes your worth. It removes your dignity. So, for example, in India, where they have superstition, a human being will be hungry, dying of hunger, lying in the street, where cows are walking. Nobody can touch the cows. Because the cows, because of their superstition, is sacred. But human being is outcast. So human being will be dying where cows are being fed. So that is what superstition could do for you. The human life and dignity is reduced. Human life and dignity is, and not just human life and dignity, even the God of the man is being humiliated. And God is being submitted and being forced to bow down before his own creation and the things that he created. It's just like saying, me that created this thing now, I should now be going to worship it and bow down to it, whereas I know that I'm the one who created it. It's an insult. But that is just one aspect of superstition. The other aspect of superstition that makes superstition very problematic is that superstition paralyzes progress and development. Superstition paralyzes progress and development because when you see that tree, like in my village, you will say, don't touch it. And today, because of the white man that came to the village, the tree is being removed, and now we have a secondary school there. Before, we couldn't have the secondary school. So there will be no school, there will be no education, there will be no industry, there will be no hospitals, just because you elevate tree above the lives of the people that, because the whole of creation was created for man, that we will rule over and have dominion over nature. And I would like to tell you that this is not just an occurrence in Africa. This is the way the whole world was before Christianity came. It is Christianity that reversed history. It is Christianity that stopped paganism and animism. Whereby men are worshiping creation. It is Christianity that now said, no, look at what the Bible says, that God created us and made us the crown of his creation. He crowned us with glory and honor and submitted everything under his feet, under our feet, that we will have dominion. So what is that? Why is that important? Because when you know in your mind that you are supposed to subdue the earth and have dominion over that sea, you then begin to look at technology. You begin to study and look at how you can curtail. Am I using the right word?
No,
is
curtail.
It curtail? How you can curtail that flood instead of worshiping that river. How you can
harness its power.
How you can, yes, harness the power and produce, from that flood, produce electricity, hydroelectricity, or make it to work for the good of or produce irrigation system for the city. So you subdue the nature. You don't worship the nature. So that is what Christianity brought. For example, that tree, we are supposed to, remove it and build the school, but besides that, use the timber, to be able to build, houses, industry, or, to even be able to do energy, to produce energy. So what Christianity brought is that man is supposed to subdue nature and use it to glorify God. We are supposed to make things, find out. That's why Christianity brought about education and civilization, because you want to find out, because you have a commandment from God that you should subdue the earth. So you want to find out, how can I have this subdued? And that is what gave birth to the development of education. And because of that, that's how we came to science and then industrial revolution. And so now we're having progress everywhere, because the mind says that no aspect of nature should be above the man. The man is supposed to be ruling and managing and subduing the earth. But in paganism and through superstition, you are told that no, you are too small for the thunder, for the flood, for the tree, for the stone, for any little thing that you cannot explain. You begin to worship it. So everything is paralyzed. The rivers, the water system will not be developed, bridges will not be built, cars will not be developed, industry will not be developed, electricity will not be harnessed. Nothing will be done because of fear. That if you try to do anything there against the will of the gods, that the gods will come down and punish you. So that is another aspect of superstition that is dangerous. The next aspect of superstition that is dangerous is that superstition is always based on fear. So you cannot have a society of superstition without being bound by fear. So the fear of doing things and the fear of daring. That's why you discover that most of the people who have gone to, even to discover the River Niger, these are white people. Why? Because our people are not daring enough. They are afraid of it because they will say the gods are there. Or if you go there, the spirits of the gods will punish you. So there is no daring, there is no innovation. There is no archaeological discovery because of that. And the fear also brings about suspicion and suspicious. So people become suspicious of one another, and that leads to enmity. Enmity between neighbors and between relatives, between parents and,
neighbors,
between the neighbors. So instead of loving your neighbor, you begin to fight your neighbor. Suspect your neighbor. Harm your neighbor, and that is why enmity is everywhere. Witchcraft is everywhere because you want to protect yourself against, the people that you are suspecting. Now, that also, this is another problem of superstition. It also leads to the question of whenever things happen to you, you begin to look at the world from the point of view of who is to blame rather than what.
How do we solve the problem?
So you begin to ask the question of who rather than what. You go through life, either you are asking this question, who or what. That is, whenever any problem happens, don't focus on who. Because if you say who did it, then you want to persecute somebody. You want to,
eliminate somebody.
Yeah, eliminate somebody, or what do you call, make somebody into an enemy. What is that?
Victimize or
you want to implicate somebody. You want to victimize them. You want to incriminate somebody.
Okay.
And then you begin to look at a way to eliminate them. It leads to destruction.
And then genocide comes from.
Yeah, that's why genocide is that tribe that is to blame. It is that nepotism, tribalism, all come from superstition. So, but when you look at it from scientific point of view, which is what led to that. Why is that my wife sick? If it is in superstition, you will say it is some witch or wizard that are responsible. Somebody in the village, some stepmother or some neighbor is responsible for the sickness of my wife. But if it is, you are asking what is this problem with my wife, then you discover that, it is malaria. That malaria is as a result of not drinking pure water. Then you could begin to purify the water. So it leads to progress. It leads to development when you live free of superstition.
Fantastic response, Doctor. Thank you.